Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mind Hiking Podcast. I'm your host, Brody Frye, and today we're going to be discussing a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I feel it is dwindling in society today, yet so important. So, stay tuned. Hey everyone, it's Brody Frye, and here we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. All right, guys, today I want to talk about being nice because I feel like it. So we talk about a good point to this in Katie's episode, which is episode 10. And then in episode 14, she makes a surprise appearance on the bonus episode. And we kind of go over some similar things. But basically, one of the biggest points that I can make is perspective. Again, we dive deeper into this on Katie's episode number 10. But I'm going to just kind of skim over this quick, but the gist is trying to put yourself in a spot where you can feel where somebody else is or what somebody else is going through or somebody else's standpoint. And that's a very difficult skill to learn. And this isn't something that's taught. I mean, you kind of got to figure this out on your own, but us as humans are just so reactive and we see the world from our own point of view, and it's so easy to blame, and it only takes an extra second to pause and think, because we don't know what's happening in anybody else's lives, and all we know is from our own point of view and our own perspective. What we do know is we've done things that piss other people off, and when those other people do them to us, it pisses us off, and we just blame for that. And it's like it's funny because like we've made the same mistake before, but you don't see it that way. You know, it's a perspective thing. It's crucial to understand perspective and where people are coming from when they make decisions and they do things, and that really helps kind of cool the boiling blood of anger when a situation happens. It's important to keep perspective in mind. There's always more to the story. There's always more leading up to it. There's always more that we don't know. So that's why it's so important to keep your cool and just from a perspective standpoint, you know, do your best to understand or even just assume that that other person that upset you is going through something else, or maybe there's a really good reason why they made that decision. Because odds are they wouldn't have made that decision if there wasn't something else pressing or something that made them choose a specific path. Now, another point that kind of I feel like ties in nicely with this perspective is that when somebody upsets you and you get angry or mad, you're giving that person power. You're giving them the power to control you, because now they're affecting you and your behavior. They have that power. You keep cool and calm and you control your own power. All you can do is control yourself. You can't control others. When somebody does something that pisses you off, that's on you getting pissed off. They didn't make you get pissed off. That they didn't say, "Oh, I can control him and make him pissed off. And maybe some people do things on purpose to upset others, but that's on you whether or not you give that power to them, whether or not you actually get upset. You have the controls for your own emotions, and that is 100% on you how those are reflected outwards. And if you're somebody that lets external circumstances vastly swing your emotions, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're weak, but that's something that you might need to look into, might need to work on, might need to improve a little bit. Your mental strength in controlling your emotions and in processing why things are happening and how they're happening, and then perspective as well. Learn to shift the focus off of yourself, which is very difficult because you've only seen the world from your own perspective. So it's a natural state to focus on yourself and look outwards, but learn to shift your perspective, learn to shift your outlook and see from another's eyes and react from that state rather than a self-centered state. Another thing that I'm super passionate about is circumstances, especially ones that you can't control. And again, these all kind of tie in nicely. This ties in nicely with perspective. But circumstances that you see others are in that they can't control. And this also kind of, I guess you could say this kind of goes along the bullying issue, where you see people making fun of other people for things that are completely out of their control. Like, obviously, the biggest, most common ones right now are gender and race. The way I see it is, if you're not bothering or hurting anyone, go do what you got to do. Be who you want to be. Do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge somebody for whoever they want to choose to be. That's totally fine. Like I said, as long as you're not bothering people or hurting anybody, do what you got to do. One thing that just bugs me so much is people that make fun of others for things that they can't control. And it just like hurts my heart when you hear just kids that get made fun of, in school. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a good school, and I didn't see too much of this going on like they portray in movies and TV shows about bullying, but that is a real thing, and it's so disturbing. Especially, like, one thing, I mean, I'm dancing around the topic here because I don't even want to, it's gut-wrenching, but when you see autistic children or any sort of child or even adult with any sort of special need, and somebody jokes around or messes around with them or at them, and it's just so horrible to me. I find it so disturbing. And do you think they wanted to be like that? Do you think they put themselves there? No, they can't. They didn't have a choice. Just like you got put here and you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice of your hair color, or your eye color, or the shape of your body, or who you are. You were born into this world like that, and then you got to grow from there. And so was everyone else. So it's just so disturbing. We were all plopped here on the same rock, and you still get people making fun of others. And it's like, we're the same. Come on, guys. It's so disturbing. But again, you see people with what many might consider as a disability or a disadvantage, and they're going above and beyond. There's countless stories of marathon runners that are missing legs and things like that, or famous martial artists that are missing hands, or surfers that are missing limbs from shark attacks, but they're still out there, and just like crazy stories like that could have been. But, or another thing too is just like the amount of genius that comes out of people that are on the spectrum, and their brains just think differently, and they can process things. It's amazing. And even things as simple, just like basic jobs too, locally. For me, there's a gentleman that's autistic that works at a movie theater, and he checks tickets, and that, it just melts my heart just seeing him still there, just kicking butt. He's working harder than most Americans now. It's inspiring, and it just like every time I see him, it's just like I always be sure to be so kind and just tell him how much I appreciate him, and it's just so cool to me. And it's inspiring, and just seeing people succeed in any and all circumstances. It's just a beautiful thing about human beings, and not just human beings, animals too, because you see even three-legged dogs and things like that. Just life in general has a way about carrying on. It's a beautiful thing, and all of us are so much more similar than you'd think. And we just wrap ourselves into our own minds where we think from our own point of view, and which is natural because that's the only point of view that we've ever seen before. But we're so much more alike. We're all life. I'm going to keep this episode short today, guys. Just see what you can do. Take this in, soak in these points, and see if you can apply this to your life. Maybe try a little bit of perspective. Think about others. Be nice. Be kind to people. We are all life, and we are all just plopped here and trying to get by and do our best. Everybody is really doing what they believe is their best. So just keep that in mind. Everybody has their own struggles. Everybody's going through their own thing, and only seeing life through your own eyes, it's tough, and it's easy to get lost in your own life and forget that the person you're staring at also has their own set of struggles, their own set of problems, and you tend to think that yours are more pressing or more important than theirs, and then you got a bunch of people running around that all think the same way. So let's just try to be a little kinder and nicer in our life and see what happens. Just experiment and test in your life and try to see from another perspective, or put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And I find this to be more beneficial than not. And if it doesn't work out for you, if it makes your life worse, then go back to your old ways. But I doubt that'll happen. All right, guys. I think that is all I got for you on this episode. I also want to say a side note, too. I had a little computer malfunction, and I actually lost this recording, and I was ready to puke. I'm like, no. Each episode, even the short ones, I do spend a lot of time on, and especially all the editing and just the brainstorming of what I want to talk about and discuss. It all takes a lot of time, and this one I lost, and I was able to just raw data recover it, which after restarting the computer and restarting the software that I use and updates and everything, and I don't know how I was able to salvage it, but I was, and I am so grateful that I did, and I hope that you guys are too. I would have probably kept the same theme, but I really feel like this turned out good, and I'm just grateful to have this episode not be deleted. So I hope you guys really enjoyed it because it was missing for a while. So also another side note that I wanted to bring up is the Mind Hiking podcast is now supported and listened to in 10 countries. It's so amazing to me, this reach that I'm getting. It's just amazing. Thank all of you. I'm so grateful. So I'm from the United States, and the majority of my downloads are from the United States, obviously. But I got this big growing audience in the United Kingdom. I think that is so cool. And after seeing that, just this like influx of listeners in the United Kingdom, I wanted to just bring this up in the podcast and say, I see you guys and thank you so much for all of your support. I think it's so cool just to be able to have this reach and that you guys are returning listeners. And I just wanted to say, you guys in the United Kingdom, I really appreciate you and you guys rock. So thank you so much for your support. And the rest of the countries too. The United Kingdom is just, it's growing fast. So I'm just seeing a big growth curve right there from them. So I wanted to bring this up. So thank you guys so much. And I really hope you guys appreciated this episode. Like I said, I kind of salvaged this out from the grave, but I'm grateful that I got it back, and I'm so excited to be posting it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on Monday.